she gave me a box. A small wooden box, decorated with heart and star stickers, as if it came from a child's dream. Inside, there were no jewels or love letters. There was a list of 1,000 kisses. But it wasn't just any list. It was the most brutal and beautiful revelation of my life, because she handed me this box on the exact day I discovered the unbearable truth. She was dying. And what broke my heart the most, what shattered me into millions of pieces, was realizing that this list wasn't a whim, wasn't a game. She had written each of those kisses when she was 10 years old, and she always knew she wouldn't have enough time to live them all. I'm Noah. I'm 20 years old. And this is the most painful, cruel, and at the same time the most absurdly beautiful story I've ever lived. If you're watching this now, you've probably never experienced losing someone you love with overwhelming intensity, before even having the chance to truly have them in your life. I have. And today, I not only want to share this pain and beauty with you, but I want to show how true love can be, paradoxically, both the greatest blessing and the greatest curse of your life. Before I dive into the details of this list that turned my world upside down, and will turn yours too, I need to take you back to the beginning. I need to tell you how a girl with a smile that shone brighter than the sun and a dark secret managed to forever change the life of a boy her age, without him knowing. How, at 15, she simply disappeared from my life without a single explanation, without a goodbye, leaving me with a hole in my chest and 1,000 unanswered questions. And how, at 20, when I finally found her, the truth I discovered made me question every single thing I thought I knew about love, about loss, and about merciless time. Because the truth is devastating. Claire didn't leave me because she didn't love me. On the contrary, she left me because she loved me too much. And when you truly understand the weight and depth of what this means, you'll realize that sometimes the people we love most, those we swear would never hurt us, are capable of the greatest, most brutal and incomprehensible cruelties. And all of this, for a love so great it transcends reason. Stay with me until the end, because what Claire taught me about life and death is a lesson we all, inevitably, need to learn one day. The air that morning was heavy, dense with the dust of memories and the sweet and bitter smell of hope. My fingers gripped the steering wheel, my sweaty palm betraying the nervousness I'd been trying to bury for years. For hours of road, for hours to confront a ghost. Or, to be more exact, to find the girl who, at 10 years old, stole my heart and never gave it back. If I had known what awaited me, I might not have had the courage to start the engine. But the universe sometimes has its own plans. My story with Claire began when I barely understood the meaning of the word love. I was 10 years old and the world, for me, was a vast field of discoveries and games. The move to that small countryside town seemed, at first, a nuisance. But then she appeared. Claire, with her brown hair that danced in the sun like golden threads and a smile that disarmed any sadness. She was more than the neighbor. She was my childhood soulmate, the partner of all adventures. We played until sunset, did homework at each other's houses, and I remember perfectly her voice, so full of certainty, saying, "One day we're going to get married, you know?" My boy's heart, so pure and innocent, raced with the simple idea. I didn't know what it was, but it was good. It was real. 15, life, as always, decided to play a cruel trick. My father was transferred and, suddenly, the promise of forever was under threat. On the day of my departure, her house's porch was the stage for a farewell that marked my soul. Claire cried, tears streaming down her face, making me promise I would write every day. And then the first kiss, a stolen kiss, sweet and desperate, sealing a promise. I would return. I would come back for her as soon as I turned 18. She smiled through tears, with the innocence and devotion that only a child's love can have, and murmured, "I'll wait forever if I have to." It was a fairy tale, an innocent fantasy that true love could overcome any distance, any obstacle. I believed it, and part of me, for a long time, lived waiting for this reunion, this better life by her side, as if she were the key to everything I always wanted. But reality is a treacherous monster. At first, messages were daily. She told me school secrets, friends' gossip, every small detail of her life without me. I, in turn, described the big city, the news, the busy routine, but always ended with the same phrase. I miss you. I'm counting the days to come back. Until, without warning, silence. Messages stopped. The phone didn't ring anymore. I called, sent hundreds of desperate messages, asked my mother to call her mother. Nothing. It was as if Claire had been swallowed by a black hole, disappearing without a trace. With each passing day, anguish grew, crushing my chest. What did I do wrong? Did I break some promise? I went through every conversation, every word, every moment we spent together, looking for the flaw, the explanation for that injustice. Nothing made sense. The following 5 years were veiled torture. I tried to move on. I swear I tried. I went out with other girls, tried to fall in love again, but it was useless. There was always something missing, an emptiness that no one could fill. It was as if a part of me still belonged to that brown-eyed girl, to that whispered promise of forever. My friends said I was obsessed, that I needed to get over a teenage love. But how do you get over someone who never really left your life? How do you forget the person who taught you what it is to love? The pain of rejection, of abandonment, was an open wound that refused to heal. I felt my heart tighten just thinking about her, a pain that accompanied me in every step, every breath. And then, 3 months ago, the decision, an epiphany. I couldn't live anymore with that doubt corroding my soul. I needed closure, even if it was painful. Curiosity and the need to know were stronger than fear of the truth. I took my car, keys trembling in my hands, and drove the 4 hours to my hometown. Every kilometer was a step toward the unknown, but also a step toward liberation. I wouldn't leave there without an answer. No matter what I discovered, I needed Claire. I needed the truth. Anxiety was almost palpable, and I knew that my life, one way or another, would change forever. This was the time to unravel the secret that had tormented me for years. This story of a childhood love lost, the loneliness of a broken promise, and the relentless search for an answer was my reality. I was a man with a broken heart, searching for the truth about an inexplicable disappearance. With every beat of my heart, the key words of my own life echoed. Loss, hope, rejection, and the eternal search for connection. The car engine fell silent, but the drumming of my heart in my ears was deafening. The familiar streets stretched before me, and each house seemed to whisper memories. There it was, Claire's house, exactly as I had left it, but a shadow hung over it, a silence that chilled the soul. I gathered every bit of courage I had left before getting out of the car. And then I saw her. Claire was there, in the garden, bent over the rose bushes her mother cultivated with so much love. But time, cruel, had sculpted a new image on her. She was thinner, fragile, and her movements were a painful ballet, as if every fiber of her being complained. Still, her beauty was undeniable, timeless. It was the Claire who inhabited my dreams, the woman I never stopped loving. I got out of the car, feeling the ground tremble under my feet, and walked to the fence. The impact of my presence was immediate. Her eyes filled with tears, and the watering can slipped from her hands. For one precious instant, I saw the flame of our childhood love shine, pure and intact. But in a blink, something changed. A shadow of pain and despair crossed her face, and she turned, starting to run toward the house. Not again. The pain of 5 years of abandonment propelled me. I jumped the fence, adrenaline running through my veins, and shouted her name, my voice choked with urgency. She stopped, shoulders trembling, crying contained. Claire, please, just explain to me why you disappeared. Give me that answer and I promise I'll leave. I swear. She finally turned, and what I saw tore me apart. It wasn't just the tears flowing. It was the way she looked at me. A silent goodbye. A last glimpse of a past she seemed desperate to bury. You shouldn't have come back, Noah. You should have moved on with your life and forgotten me. Before I could formulate an answer, the house door opened, and Claire's mother appeared. Instead of the anger I expected, her face overflowed with tired sadness, but her eyes welcomed me with unexpected warmth. "Noah, dear," she said, her voice soft, coming toward me. "Shall we take a walk around the block? We need to talk." Claire, with a pleading look at her mother, nodded and quickly entered the house. While we walked down the street that was once the stage for so many games, silence was filled only by birdsong and the heavy beating of my heart. Claire's mother stopped, turned to me, and held my hands tenderly. "I know how much you love my daughter, Noah," she began, her voice choked. "When you left, I honestly thought it was just a teenage romance, that soon you would forget her. But now, seeing you here after so long, I see in your eyes the depth of what you feel. I think you deserve an answer, Noah, but you'll need to be patient with Claire. Why don't you have dinner with us tonight? And you can stay to sleep if you want." We turned Henry's office into a guest room. The world fell silent. Literally, the air seemed to thin in my lungs, and a sharp, almost physical pain hit me head-on. Everything fit together. The sudden silence, the abandonment, the sadness in Claire's eyes. They were trying to protect me from the inevitable loss. After dinner, Claire and I sat on the couch and started talking. "That's why you stopped answering my messages? That's why you abandoned me?" My voice was a whisper of pure hurt. "I didn't abandon you," she said, her voice choked with tears. "I freed you. You were 15 years old, Noah. You had a whole life ahead of you. I couldn't let you waste your best years taking care of someone who was dying." I felt a wave of sadness invade me, not just because of the illness, but because they had taken away my right to choose. Because they had decided for me, because they had preferred to hurt me rather than let me stay by her side. Her sacrifice, though well-intentioned, hurt me deeply. I felt betrayed when Claire's mother said she had told my parents and everyone agreed it was better to separate us so that Claire's death wouldn't interfere with my future studies. So everyone knew Claire was sick and let me think she just didn't want to be with me anymore? My voice came out choked, almost a whisper of despair. "Dear." Claire's mother tried, her voice soft, but I couldn't accept it. "You were so young. Your parents were just worried. They were afraid you wouldn't be able to handle the situation well and that it would harm your future. You shouldn't have decided for me. You didn't have the right to decide I wasn't strong enough to stay by her side." The hurt was palpable. Her mother intervened again, her voice loaded with pain and sadness. "You were just a child, Noah. You don't understand the pain of watching someone you love waste away day after day." "Then let me understand now," I said, my voice gaining new firmness, an unshakable determination. "I'm 20 years old. I'm not a child anymore, and I choose to stay." "Noah, don't," Claire began, her voice weak, but I interrupted her, passion completely dominating me. "No, Claire. For 5 years I lived with the pain of thinking you didn't love me anymore. 5 years I carried the guilt of having done something wrong. And now I discover that you loved me so much that you preferred to hurt me rather than let me love you back. That's cruel, Claire. That's the most cruel thing you could have done to us." She broke down crying, and I approached, the impulse to hug her overwhelming. This time she didn't pull back. "I won't let you face this alone. I'll cancel college, cancel my plans, cancel whatever I need to, but I won't leave you again. You don't understand." Her mother insisted, desperation stamped on every word. "She has at most a few months, maybe a year if we're lucky. Are you going to throw your life away for a few months?" I looked directly into that woman's eyes, the conviction in my soul unshakable. I already threw away 5 years of my life for not having a few months with her. I won't make the same mistake twice. Claire looked at me, and in that look, I saw an overwhelming mixture of love and despair. "Noah, I don't want you to see me die. I don't want your last memories of me to be of pain and suffering." "Then let's make sure they're not," I said, holding her soft hands, feeling the warmth of her skin against mine. "Let's make every day count. Let's live so much in a few months that it will be worth a whole life." That night, Claire's house, which before seemed haunted by silence, now resonated with the sound of boxes being dragged and our shared breathing. I helped her organize her old belongings, and each of her movements was a painful reminder of her body's fragility. Climbing stairs or carrying simple boxes left her exhausted, and my heart tightened seeing her struggle. But in her eyes, for the first time in 5 years, I saw a glimmer of hope, a light that pulled me closer. That's when I found it. It was a small wooden box, decorated with heart and star stickers, irrefutable proof of the child she once was. Upon opening it, an avalanche of memories hit me. Faded photos, crumpled notes, small treasures from our childhood. But at the bottom, a folded and yellowed paper caught my attention. "What is this?" I asked, lifting the paper. Claire blushed, trying in vain to take the paper from my hands, but I was already unfolding it. It was a list, written in her childish handwriting, full of spelling mistakes and small drawings in the margins. My gaze went through the words, and a knot formed in my throat. 1,000 kisses I need to save before I die. I read aloud, the phrase hanging in the air like a sad melody. The list was, at the same time, overwhelmingly innocent and with a pain that cut the soul. There were simple kisses like kiss on mom's cheek and kiss on Noah's nose, but also grand desires, kiss in the rain like in movies, kiss under the stars, and, the most bittersweet of all, kiss on my wedding day. "You wrote this when you were 10 years old?" I asked, my voice almost a whisper, choked with emotion. She nodded, tears flowing freely down her face. I always knew something was wrong with me. Even before the diagnosis, I felt I wouldn't have as much time as other children. So I made this list, imagining all the things I wanted to live before leaving. I looked at the list again, and my heart broke into 1,000 pieces. Many of the kisses involved specific places in our town, situations a child only knows through movies and books, the pure dreams of a girl who, somehow, sensed the limitation of her time. "How many of these have you already lived?" I asked, my voice loaded with a sadness I could barely contain. "Few," she admitted, a heavy sigh. I stopped believing I could live this list when I discovered I was really sick. It stopped being a dream and became a painful memory of everything I would never have. That's when the idea was born, a flash of light amid the darkness that would change everything for us. What if we lived this list together? All the 1,000 kisses, Claire. Let's transform your last months into something magical, instead of just sad. She shook her head, eyes fixed on mine, a mixture of disbelief and longing. "Noah, many of these things are impossible. I can barely walk properly. How am I going to manage to live adventures?" "We'll find a way," I declared, determination vibrating in every word. "If you're going to leave, at least let's leave without regrets. Let's live a whole life in a few months." Claire looked at me with that smile I hadn't seen for 5 years, a smile that lit up her face, and for the first time since I found her, she seemed truly alive. "All right," she said, her voice full of new hope. "Let's live the 1,000 kisses." And that's how the most intense and painful phase of my life began. We decided that each day would be dedicated to a few kisses from the list. We started with the simplest and evolved to the most complex, in a race against time, but full of love and discoveries. Our journey through the 1,000 kisses began simply, but full of meaning. The first on the list, number 23, was the good morning kiss with coffee taste. I woke up before the sun, with my heart racing, and prepared the coffee she loved so much. When Claire opened her eyes, the aroma invaded the room, and we smiled at each other. We sat on the porch, the warmth of the cup in our hands, and there, under the soft morning light, I kissed her slowly. It was a sweet taste of coffee, mixed with the indescribable happiness of having her back, of seeing her there, so real. Kiss number 47, kiss in the rain like in movies, made us wait for a whole week, with the anxiety of children. When, finally, the first drops fell, we ran to the garden, and the kiss came, mixed with laughter and the feeling that the world was ours. Claire ended up catching a cold, but her radiant smile assured me, "It was worth it, Noah, every second." We revisited the past in kiss number 156, kiss in the place where we met. We returned to the playground, now rusty and somewhat abandoned, a ghost of our childhood games. But there, among creaky swings and faded slides, we kissed, feeling the innocence of that time and the surprising truth that true love could, yes, remain the same through the years, untouched by time's marks. The days, however, had their own rhythm. While Claire's soul's vivacity exploded, I saw her body deteriorate. Fragility increased, but in her eyes, a brightness I hadn't seen since we were children was reborn. She laughed more, talked more, and her dreams, now tangible, gave purpose to each new dawn. It was as if the kiss list wasn't just a countdown, but a guide to a fuller and more intense life. Kiss number 389, Kiss with Cotton Candy Taste at the Fair, was both a challenge and a joy. At the town fair, Claire could barely stand, so I carried her in my arms, feeling the light weight of her body against mine. We bought cotton candy, and there, in the middle of the vibrant crowd, we kissed, the sweet taste in our mouths and hearts overflowing with an almost painful happiness. We climbed onto her house's roof for kiss number 532, Kiss Under the Stars. Lying side by side, lost in the immensity of the night sky, we talked about life, about the universe, about us. When I kissed her, Claire whispered that she felt like she was kissing the entire universe. And I believed her. That kiss was infinite, a promise amid the fragility of existence. However, there was one kiss that haunted me, a silent omen amid so much joy. Kiss number 847. Farewell kiss that doesn't hurt. I knew it would come, that it would be the last, but the question corroded me. How to make it painless? How to say goodbye without the soul breaking? Claire got weaker every day. There were mornings when she could barely get out of bed, and I spent hours just holding her hand, telling stories from our childhood, reliving every detail to get a smile from her. Her parents, who initially showed veiled hostility to my presence, gradually gave in. They saw that I made her happy, that my love for her was unconditional, a safe harbor on difficult days. Her mother, in a moment of vulnerability, even apologized to me. I thought I was protecting you both, she confessed, eyes brimming with tears. But now I see that true love doesn't need protection. It needs courage. Those words were a balm for my soul, a confirmation that I was exactly where I should be. We reached kiss number 800 on a spring morning, under the tree in the garden, where she used to play as a child. Claire was particularly weak, but I carried her with all the care in the world. Kiss number 800 was the kiss that makes time stop. And indeed it did. When I kissed her, the entire world seemed to silence, pause, just for us. It was a bubble of love, an instant of eternity. Noah, she said, her voice almost a whisper. I don't know if I'll be able to reach the 1,000 kisses. It doesn't matter, I replied, my voice choked with emotion, but firm in my conviction. What matters is that we tried. What matters is that we loved without fear. Claire smiled, and I saw peace in her face. It wasn't the resignation of someone who gave up, but the serenity of someone who truly lived, who exhausted every drop of life and happiness given to them. Kiss number 847 happened on a spring morning, 3 days later, under the golden brightness of the sunrise that invaded the room. Claire was in my arms, her breathing weak, almost imperceptible. She was too weak to speak, but when I kissed her, I felt it. I felt her soul saying goodbye, like a gentle breeze that goes away. That was the farewell kiss that doesn't hurt, she whispered, her last words almost inaudible. And she was right. It didn't hurt, because that kiss wasn't the end of something, but the perfect conclusion of a story lived intensely, full of love, gratitude, and the certainty that every moment was worth it. Claire departed that morning, serenely, in my arms, a light smile drawn on her face. My world, for an instant, crumbled, but there was no regret, only the certainty that we had done everything right. We loved without limits, without fear, without reservations. An intensity that defied mortality itself. The funeral was an intimate farewell, punctuated by tears and a palpable love that filled the air. I remember going up to the pulpit, my voice choked, to speak about how Claire had taught me that true love isn't measured in time, but in depth. That some loves are so pure and unique that not even death can erase them. remaining engraved in the soul like an eternal song. A year passed, and life, in its stubbornness, moved forward. On my college graduation day, amid the celebration of a new chapter, my speech was for her. For Claire, who taught me that 1,000 kisses, lived with the heart, can last a lifetime if we know how to keep them in the right place. Some people enter our lives to teach us that love isn't measured in time, but in intensity. I told the audience, my voice firm, but choked with emotion. Claire taught me that carrying true love isn't a burden, but a privilege. That some people love so deeply that, even when they leave, they continue transforming lives, inspiring us to love without fear, to live each moment as if it were the last. After the ceremony, I drove to the cemetery, my heart heavy, but with an unusual quietness. I brought with me a letter, a paper tribute to the 153 kisses we didn't have time to live, all the kisses I would give her in thought, day after day, for the rest of my life. I wrote about how each of those kisses would be kisses of longing that squeeze the soul, kisses of gratitude for every moment, kisses of memory that rescue her smile, and, above all, kisses of eternal love that defied logic. When I finished reading the letter, a smile sprouted on my lips, the first genuine one in months. It wasn't a smile of complete happiness, but of understanding, of newly found peace. I finally understood that carrying this love wasn't a curse, but a blessing. Claire hadn't left me empty. She had filled me with a type of love that transcends life and death, an immortal legacy that would accompany me forever. And I was able to make her leave feeling loved, from beginning to end. Today, 2 years later, I still feel Claire's presence in my life. It's not a haunted or painful shadow, but a comfort that envelopes my soul. She taught me that true love doesn't die with the body. It transforms into something eternal, something we carry with us and that shapes us into better people. I still keep the list of 1,000 kisses in that small wooden box. Sometimes, I take it and, rereading each item, I see not just a kiss, but a deep lesson about truly living, about loving without fear, about the courage to make every moment count, to extract the essence from every second. Claire was right when she said that some kisses can last a lifetime. Our 847 kisses sustained me through the most difficult moments, taught me about forgiveness, about the beauty of loving someone more than yourself. They were a lighthouse amid darkness, guiding me through pain and showing me the path of acceptance. If you're watching this and think it's just a sad story about loss, you're understanding it wrong. This is a story about victory, about how true love always triumphs, even when everything seems to indicate otherwise. It's about how some people enter our lives not to stay forever, but to teach us that forever can happen in a few intense months, in a period of time that, though short, overflows with meaning and passion. Claire taught me that 1,000 kisses can last a lifetime if you know how to keep them in the right place. And I keep them. Every day, every memory, every moment we live together is kept here, in my heart, where neither time nor death can touch them. They are living proof that love is indestructible. And perhaps this is the greatest lesson of all. That true love isn't about how much time you have with someone, but about what you do with the time you have. We did everything right. We loved completely, and that is something that will last forever.
Is that time?